All right, joining us to discuss this is a public affairs analyst, Bola Oba. Good morning.
You're welcome.
Good morning.
Nice to have you join us.
Pleasure always to be on your set.
Great. And we have a lawyer in the house too, in the studio, Justice Uwebu. Justice, good morning.
Good morning,
Before you came on air, we were joking. When you become the justice, we'll call you Justice.
Yeah, you've already said it. Justice.
All right. All right. Justice is a human rights lawyer, and he's here with us in the studio. Well, let me start with you on this. The debate over the issue of state police. On the average, a lot of Nigerians seem to like it, but some lawmakers feel that it is going to be an instrument that won't be a little different from what we have now when it comes to being effective, from the ground of funding to the issue of using them as a tool for intimidation and discrimination by politicians.
Their concerns may not be totally altruistic. It is on good record that the relationship between parliamentarians, especially members of the National Assembly, with the governors of the state they come from, are not usually very rosy. Many in the National Assembly, especially those who are in the Senate, potentially see themselves as the governors in waiting in their states. And it is not impossible that given the fractious relationship that usually prevails between parliamentarians and governors, so many in the National Assembly may be a bit paranoid that their governors, all politics is local, that their governors may ultimately use an institution such as state police to hound them or intimidate them. Their concern is not totally devoid of credibility. Historically, from the colonial era to when we had first indigenous set of administrators from 1954 to 1960 up until 1966, when Decree 34 of May 24, 1966 was promulgated by the Irosi government. We had always had local and regional policing entities. And the regions were then the federating units, just like the states now. It is on good record, as a student of history, I cannot sit before Nigerians and be lying to them. It is on good record that some of the regional governments indeed used the local policing authorities to intimidate, persecute, and victimize their political opponents. But we are in a totally different age. We are in a totally different age because, look, in the days when those policing authorities were used to intimidate political opponents, they were largely the Orwellian days of surveillance. We are in the age now of surveillance, when information management comes from the grassroots. The power of this technology, this contraption, is so, you understand what I'm saying? So that rubbishes one of the fears to start with. Secondly, we have present challenges that are so enormous that the monolithic policing authority that we have now has proven itself to lack the capacity to be responsive enough to solve. Look, governors are titular chief security officers of states on paper. The organic and operational powers of security in the state actually resides with a man in Abuja who has an appointee of his in the state. That contradiction itself is being exploited by the criminally minded amongst us and is dangerous for our survival.
All right, Justice, let's come to you. You heard what Bola just said, as it is at the federal, so it could be at the state. So why are people saying that there shouldn't be state police? What is your own argument?
Well, I think some people are trying to also play politics with this because we're in a country where politics has become the order of the day, unfortunately. Because I think that anybody who is against state or community policing is an enemy of the people.
Why?
And I don't blame them, because they go out with an entourage of security men with them. Driving from my house to this place, nobody came with me. So if anything happens to me on the road, if I'm waylaid on the road, nobody will ask.
No,
It will be a headline news. Human rights lawyer killed. Or, but the issue is this. Do we have the capacity? Do we have the policing? What is policing in the first place? And we don't have it. Now, we are somebody, and let me tell you the truth. An IG, the powers of the IG is more than the power of a governor. In fact, if not even more than the power of a president. Because when
you see it in Ekiti.
Yeah, because you see, let me tell you. When you have control of people with arms with you. The former governor, late former Mbakwe, Governor Mbakwe said that it's only a madman that will see a man with a gun and go to fight him or challenge him. We don't know what we're doing. Now, have you asked yourself a question? Even from the time of Boko Haram to X-Men, today it has turned to gunmen because things are beginning to come up every day. Who is actually challenging them? Nobody. But let me tell you the truth. Today, somebody who is from the north will be a commissioner of police in the east. Somebody who is from the west will be a commissioner of police in the north who does not know the terrain. Now, but when you have community policing, they know themselves. That was why in the olden days, you hardly get crimes like this. Because if there is an intruder in a community, the community will know. There's no two ways about it. So why are they afraid of state policing and community policing? Look at what is happening today, using the machineries of the police. In fact, the police has even gone outside their scope of work. Because first of all, the duty of the police...
You're talking about what happened on Tuesday?
Yes, it's for the protection of lives and property of the people. Nothing again. But today, when police are now being used for political issues and all the rest, they are not supposed to be close there at all. But unfortunately, because of what is happening today, police has become... they have become legends in this country that never happened in the other countries. Okay. So, as far as I'm concerned, we must fight for the... Let me tell you, it's not about the people at the National Assembly. It's about what did the people want. And let me tell you, however you want it or you like it, if we say we're practicing democracy, the people's voice must count. And secondly, Professor Risiu, a legal jurist, said that the law is to harmonize with the society. The implication of that is that as the society grows, the law grows alongside with the society. So today, the million-dollar question is this: is there need for state policing? You see, there's nothing you do in life that will not have its own problems. But when you look at the advantages, it will be higher than the disadvantages. You must go by it.
Okay, but let me bring it from that window. Considering the present reality we find ourselves, where we often have regional suspicion, we often have when we check our political culture, one would say we're not mature enough. Considering all of this societal dynamics, how ripe is Nigeria for a state policing system?
Let's get practical now.
Okay.
A sizable percentage of the population of Lagos are from the east and the south. Nobody can discountenance that. It would be intellectually fraudulent to say that a sizable percentage of Lagos is not from the east. If an average Igbo man would be concerned that if you have state policing in a state like Lagos, it is not impossible that some of the elements or some of the operatives of the force may indeed intimidate them, as it was alleged at a point against Lasma. I'm a very practical person, and I try to analyze based on... I am in support of state policing, but I try to walk to the conclusion of what I will do by addressing realities.
Okay.
Now, I cannot sit here and say my Igbo friends who used to call me Igbola, if I say you know these people, call them one last man boy just they trouble me. And when you chase the story, you will discover that because maybe they spoke to the man and he gave an Igbo accent, they just wanted to extort him.
Well, that wasn't what well, according to some Lagosians, the way last man operated. In fact, they operated generally. That was when Governor Akinwumi Ambode came
before
in,
this governor came.
Blanket
I said before this governor came, but it's an historical fact.
It was a general complaint.
It was a complaint. Oh. You know what? I'm sitting there now thinking, does Lagos need state police? Yes, Bolaba. Would there be tendency for some operatives to abuse the privilege of that office? Yes. I am then happy one day when I listened to the Deputy President of the Senate, Ekremadu. Nigeria is a federation that has a peculiar judicial superstructure. Many Nigerians listening to me this morning may not know that all high court judges and superior bench judges in Nigeria are technically appointed by their states, indigenous to the state, are connected to the autochthonous culture, but they are federal appointees. Fortunately, my brother is a... And you know why? You know the beauty of what we have as our judicial superstructure is that there is a body called the NJC. Notwithstanding the fact that you are an appointee of your state government as a judge in your state, if you misbehave and a complaint is sent to the NJC and it could be proven that you have abused your position, the NJC, which is a federal institution composing of all constituents of Nigeria, will then come to the conclusion that you are either to be punished or the accusation is frivolous. The bill that they are trying to get through the National Assembly now has such infrastructure. You may be the Commissioner of State of Lagos State Police Service, but you are not only beholden to Lagos State, you will also be accountable to a national forum, because all Nigerians from all states of Nigeria live in Lagos. And if some of them reasonably believe that either you or your operatives are handling them, that body will be a body that will say, we have looked critically at this, and we believe that you no longer deserve to hold that position. Yeah.
All right. Justice, let me come to you. There are arguments that the act governing the police, has not even been changed since it was enacted about 70 years ago. So the argument is, why not just change it, tweak it, to streamline the police, to make it work better and then perform optimally instead of canvassing for state police instead?
No, you see, what the National Assembly is trying to do is not an abolition of the Nigerian police as it is. No. It is an addition.
A parallel.
Of adding a state police. It's just like when we were discussing about the executive order that the president came up with. You see, I told him that it cannot stand. It's an illegality.
Executive order number 6.
Yeah, number 6. In fact, any executive order. You know why? Because an executive order, if you look at it very well, only that we try to copy wrongly. I think that thing is coming from United States.
Yes.
We try to copy wrongly. An executive order must be relying or lying
on a
subsisting law that is existing to streamline. Why I'm bringing this up is because there is already Nigerian police force enshrined in the Constitution. So this one will be a relying force of another creation of state and community policing. Because the word police has not gone out from there. He said something about Laxma. It's not even only Laxma. There's all these allegations, proven or not proven, about Kai.
Yeah.
That what Kai is, they are the people they are catching and frustrating in Lagos State are the Igbos and something like that.
But you must remember that most of the
no. It's not in this food. It's not the issue.
Are
But
they not
the
Igbos?
issue there is this. I wouldn't want to go into that, but the issue there is this. Without laws, human beings are the worst animal. The moment you make creation of anything, even the police, without disciplinary measures, every power will be abused. That was why Montesquieu said that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, and that is why the issue of checks and balances must come. Today, have a problem with a policeman. The police on their own will do everything to frustrate you. That impunity is always there. And if it is in a civilized society, I was at this at the state command yesterday, Lagos State. There, I have a problem with a police officer who went to use self-help to eject somebody. I was telling the OC provost that police is a profession which has to be respected. It's just like me as a lawyer. If somebody slapped me outside there, I will not reply because people will look at my conduct. As a police officer, you're supposed to live by example because people are watching you. You're different from ordinary people. So these mechanisms must be there in order to checkmate their actions and activities. And the moment any officer goes foul of the rules, after there is police acts that also regulates their conduct. But how many of them had been disciplined based on that? Because most times when something happens, they will tell you they are on top of it. They are doing ordinary room trial and all the rest. At the end of the day, you do not hear anything. And that is why the impunity will continue. And that is why the excesses will continue. And that is why a police officer, a military officer, or any security agent will see him or herself as a demigod. And they will tell you nothing will happen. And actually nothing will happen. Because when remember the politicians.
Except you know it's superior.
Except you know it's, even when you know it's superior at times. They will only call you, okay, how do we do this and all the rest. At the end of the day,
it brings to mind what happened in
continues.
Rivers State when the minister, Rotimi Amechi, was the governor with police commissioner Joseph Mbu.
And they were having...
It has happened. It has even happened to me. It has even happened to me. Do you understand? In my dear, if I tell you what the ordinary Nigerian citizens are, we are all ordinary. You know, we are not in the era of animal farm. It was Animal Farm that said all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. But there is rule of law in Nigeria. All right. So why must others be more equal than others?
Okay, well, let's come to the issue of funding now. The point there is, already at the House of Reps, the bill has scaled through second reading.
Yeah.
At the Senate, it has scaled through first reading. But the need for state police, all Nigerians like we started, really look forward to it.
Well, most Nigerians, some do not believe so.
Exaggeratively, all Nigerians, but most Nigerians anyway. But if we look at the issue of the reality, like you said, you want to be real and practical. The issue of funding. States are having issues with paying salaries of civil servants now. So when it comes to the issue of if this bill scales through and it becomes law and the states have to come up with their own police outfit, how will they cope with that?
Fantastic question. It's just that when we juxtapose that question with the reality of what prevails now, you will shake your head. And let me itemize some of the things that prevail now. My brother, as we speak, an average police post in Nigeria today, given the budget of our police, and Nigerians must listen carefully, an average police post gets about 1,500 naira a day with the extant budgetary this thing that the police has.
A police post.
Yeah, it should be 45,000 per month.
1,000?
Yeah, that should be 45,000.
1,500 naira a day. Can that buy petrol in a car? So when you call the police sometimes and they tell you, I'm sorry, we don't get petrol. It's not all the time that they are lying, you know. That's the average. It's so preposterously ridiculous. That's number one. Take that aside. Anybody watching me today, there is no state government in Nigeria that does not, in one way or the other, fund the police. Even the most indigent state, there is no that does not have a an extra budgetary mechanism of supporting the local command in that state of the Nigerian police.
We know what Lagos is doing.
That's even Lagos
Lagos
Rivers,
is taking it
the
higher.
higher end. I'm saying states like Ekiti,
Osun.
states like Osun. That's number 2. Most of the states in Nigeria, Lagos has LASTMA, has KAI. My colleague just mentioned KAI, LASTMA, and some other para-policing entities. Kano has the ISBA, this thing that enforces Sharia. Osun, as indigent as Osun is, quote unquote, on paper, Osun has the state boys. They wear a policing paraphernalia, run fleet of vehicles, and you know what? I was shocked but happy. In Osun, some of them even carry guns. If you are blasting from Ibadan to Ife, and you are going from Ife to either Akure or some of the Ekitis, you will see those boys well positioned carrying guns. The first time I saw them, I parked. I asked them, which one are you people? They call them state boys. Or that is it, supposedly indigent Osun. You know what? All the states of Nigeria, as we presently speak, are organically and operationally fleeced to support a policing authority that does not respond well enough to their local needs. So why deluding ourselves? Why deluding ourselves? And you know what? If let's give a typical example. If Oyo can afford it, and Osun, for the purpose of this, cannot afford it, let Oyo have its own. And if there are understandings between the governors of Oyo and Osun, you know what? These are the hotspots in my state. So don't let anybody fool you. When it comes to the issue of funding, the Nigerian police is the most paradoxically funded entity in Nigeria because it takes from those who don't have and give to those who have. And you must remember that about 35 to 40% of the personnel of Nigerian police is actually what? Posted to entities paying extra. Why do we have the problem between Misao and
the IG of
Right.
police?
Averagely every month, about 10 billion naira plus, according to Misao, goes from oil companies, banks, and private users.
Individuals.
Allegedly go to the IGP. All right, Justice.
Wow.
He has mentioned so many points, but let's even look at the remuneration of the police as it were today. How they're recruited, the kind of training they get. If we understand that some buy their kits after training in police college. They buy their kits, everything they wear, they have to use their own money to buy. And then the question of how much are they even paid?
You see, when you say something, I was laughing. You know why? Because all these things are man-made. Every year, check our budget. Security is being voted the highest.
And they get extra budgetary
Yeah, and they have
supplementary
extra
allocations.
budgetary. Then you now ask yourself, where are all this money going? That was why I told you that the IG of the police is more than the president. Because what they control is in the name of security. And you ask yourself, where is this security? Secondly, the governors of various states collect security votes where is that money going? As I speak to you, if you go to the Nigerian police force, there are people, you know, they have a fuel dump. There is works there. They have tailors there. They have sports and all these things. But as I speak to you today, all those things have died a natural death.
But their budgetary allocation,
they are still running on paper. Now you now ask yourself, an average policeman, you will sew your clothes, you will buy your shoes, even your beret, even what you're using, even the what do you call it? Is it the walking, talking, or what? You will buy it.
They buy everything.
And remember,
and they are budgeted for.
yes, and remember, they have been made provision for. And remember, they have children that will go to school and all this. So tell me why an average policeman would not stand on the road to collect money. Now, another thing is that if a policeman lives in the barracks, that is why you get the police barracks is the worst
of the barracks.
in Nigeria. If the policeman lives in the barracks and dies in active service, The
Less
family
than 2
doesn't
weeks.
last more than 1 week, 1 month there. They will
Because
Because they don't-
Nigerians have
they
to
don't
contribute
out.
money for that gallant police officer
yes,
that
they'll
died
push them
at-
out.
during
Yes,
a
they'll push them
bank
out.
robbery.
Abuse of,
You see, let me tell you one
they
thing.
abuse
The
them.
problem
Right.
there is this: we are not telling ourselves the truth. You remember the Mana case, the police pension saga.
We are no longer talking about it.
No. Yes, but we are fighting corruption.
That's what we're saying.
So these are some of the issues
All right.
we are talking
We
about.
have- we
if
have
I
to
tell you
round
the
off.
amount of money
Yeah.
that is voted for the police, that is not reaching to the average police outside there, and they are the people that risk their life morning, afternoon, under rain, under sun.
same problem with the
when we
military.
are sleeping, when the president is sleeping and everywhere they are guiding you. At
All
the
right,
end of
we have
the day,
to- we have to end
the
it here
little
because-
they deserve, you
Yes.
will not give it to
Because
them.
of time, we have
we
to
have to
end
leave it
here.
here now.
Yes. Bola Oba.
We have to leave it here
You have
now.
a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Bola Oba, okay, Bola Oba, public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming. And
Always
then
a pleasure.
Justice Uhuegbu, human rights lawyer. Thank you for your time on the show.
Thank you
for
so
coming,
much. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming.